Hey, thanks for coming back. If you saw yesterday's video, you saw my mom Donna is here. She's back again for video number 2. There was a few questions on Instagram and on YouTube that we thought we'd answer for you today, and also bring up a couple more topics that you might be interested in. So first we'll just answer the questions. I have them here, I'll read them. So, Mom.
Yeah?
Get ready to answer your question.
Okay.
So question number 1 was about the serums that she uses. So she has them, she's going to show you. So this one, here we can hold it. So this is the first serum she uses. It's called CE Ferulic. And so what does that do for you?
I'm not exactly sure. It's just they told me to use it. But I use it in the morning, and told me not to use it at night if you're using retinol. So don't use it at the same time as retinol. But it tingles when it goes on, and it feels like it's working. And I noticed within a week my skin was brighter. It's really an incredible product.
And how much-ish does that cost you?
Like $200.
$200.
SkinCeuticals. So use it sparingly.
Yeah, SkinCeuticals serums can be a little bit more expensive. They're kind of more known. Like Obagi, the line that I always talk about and that I use, doesn't do a serum. So when I want to add it in, I use SkinCeuticals. Again, they're really expensive. But serums are like vitamin C's, yeah, like different acids, and the kind of theory behind them is they absorb better into your skin and quicker, like it's a quicker delivery. And they typically go on before anything else, before any of your other products. So they're just supposed to penetrate your skin first, and they're really active ingredients typically in serums. So that's one of them. And then what's the other one?
This other one is a hyaluronic intensifier.
Yes, okay.
Again, by SkinCeuticals.
There you go, HA intensifier.
And it goes on after the vitamin C serum in the morning and at night as well. So you can use this twice a day. And I was told yesterday to use this instead of moisturizer. So it is your moisturizer, and it is extremely emollient and amazing. It feels good on, and yes.
Yeah, and I use that one too, actually, and I use it too if my skin's just dry. I don't necessarily use it every day. She lives in Calgary most of the time, which is a really dry climate. We're in BC, obviously, for those of you who don't know, which is very humid. So I don't always need anything. I get a lot of questions about toners and moisturizers, which are kind of typical skincare steps. Dr. Obagi, who you all know now I'm obsessed with, who does Zeo Medical, his theory is basically that your skin should be healthy enough that it can essentially hydrate itself. You shouldn't have to add hydration back in. The goal is to kind of get your skin to a state where you're just correcting and preventing, but you're not having to strip and add and strip and add and strip and add, which is what toners do. Toners kind of strip the all the oils out of your skin, and then you're adding them back with moisturizers. So the theory is that you don't need that, which is why hyaluronics are good if you're dry, instead of using actually a thick moisturizer. So personally, I don't use a moisturizer at all, except for once in a while I use that hyaluronic.
That's great.
So there you go.
Yeah.
Okay. The next question was, well, I'll stick on skin. Someone asked if you know any facial places in Calgary.
In Calgary. Thermae is good. Hannah's great. I know a lot of people that go to her. They do almost everything there.
Yeah.
And great to work with. And I'm not in Calgary that often anymore, so that's the only one I really know of.
She actually, Hannah, is who I worked for when I started this obsession when I was like 17 maybe. Anyways, yeah, that's kind of the only clinic I really know in Calgary too.
Yeah. Remember, people used to ask you, what do you do for your skin? And
I know.
You'd say, I'm 21.
I offended a bunch of people before, actually, because people would say, what, like, how much Botox do you get? And I was like, well, I'm, 18 or 19 at the time. Okay. And they were like, oh, well, look at you. Anyway. Okay, someone asked me about best self tanners. So, like I said, I used to work for Saint Tropez. It's amazing. They sell it at Shoppers Drug Mart now. And there's all different ones. There's ones for like a gradual tan that you can put on every day, and it kind of increases your tan. You use that, I think, don't you?
Yeah, I like it.
And then there's an original tan, they call it, which is kind of like if you went to California for the weekend and you got a bit of a tan. And then there's a dark, which is like if you went to Mexico for the week. And then there's an express, and the express kind of puts all those products into one. So if you wait an hour for the tan to develop, you'll get a light color. If you wait 2 hours, you'll get the medium tone. And if you wait 3 hours, you'll get the darkest tone possible. So I use that one. I leave it on for the full 3 hours, sometimes 4, sometimes 5, depends on what I'm doing. And then I just rinse it off, and I like the darkest color. Another amazing brand, but harder to find, is called James Reed Tan. There's a place here in Vancouver called the Vanity Lab. They carry it. I love, love, love his products. It's just a little harder to find, and the application is a little different.
Right. There's one I tried too just recently, and it's called something water, which I'm going to have to get back to you about the brand name. But it was ordered on Sephora.com because they didn't carry it in their store, and it looks like a spray bottle full of water, and it tans gradually, but it is one of the best colors I've ever
that's
tried.
interesting.
Yeah.
Well, you'll have to tell us which one that is.
Yeah.
I mean, Sephora has good ones too. I think it just depends. I think the thing is, self-tanners has come so far. Like when people started, I mean, I remember using Sublime Bronze from L'Oreal.
And it would smell awful. Now they don't smell.
And it was sparkly, and it was really orange.
That's right. Sparkly.
I liked it when I was 16. It was fun. But yeah, they've come a long way. There's so much more development in the DHA, which is what tans your skin. So they're more brown, and they last longer. They're easier to apply. They don't smell. So I'd suggest James Reed Saint Tropez. We'll get back to you on the water name. I'm sure Sephora actually only carries, I think, 2 or 3 brands of self-tanner, so you'll probably see it. But yeah, self-tanner. The book she was talking about, the meditation book we have. So she bought this for me. This is it. Here, well, it's the Oprah, the Wisdom of Sundays, the Super Soul Conversations from Oprah. So it's basically like a compilation of all the
spiritual leaders that she knows, that she's interviewed, and it's really a great book. It's you can just open it up anywhere and read a page a day. And like Brene Brown, and so it's just like a small page. So that was kind of her meditation book she was talking about. And then other people, due to the title of the YouTube channel, and we never got to it because we ran out of time, but they wanted to know about Van Halen. So tell everyone the story. You didn't tell me this part, that I've been to answer these questions.
Too late. You're in it now.
Oh, crap.
So tell the story of the Van Halen.
Okay, so it was an audition in LA many years ago, and the whole band was there for the audition, and David Lee Roth was kind of the leader of the group at that time. He was more the director and had more control over what was going on. Totally professional, totally knew what he wanted, very creative. And I got the part, and we drove out to Pasadena where the school was, and it was about a 5 or 6 day shoot. And
6 days?
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah, crazy for such a short thing. And yeah, we just had so much fun, and the band, they kept leaving after they'd play their part, except David Lee Roth was there to almost direct the whole thing because he just wanted it the way he wanted it. And
that's so cool.
It was fun, yeah.
Well, that was her. So when we found that out, I think we were in, Delaney was probably in grade 9 or 8. Yeah. When we really knew what, Van Halen, and that it was cool. And anyways, all the boys in our school really were excited. Yeah, they all wanted to come over all of a sudden.
That was funny.
Because we weren't that cute back then.
Of course you were.
Then I found makeup. That's great. Okay, people wanted to know about that story. The other thing I had commented on that we wanted to chat about on a heavier note was my mom actually is a 2-time breast cancer survivor. So, and that kind of, I think, sparked, as far as like us growing up, my healthiness, that's a thing, goes from way back. I mean, my mom, we never ate fast food, really. We never ate junk. Everyone was always really active. I remember going to the gym every day since I've been 10 years old. I was a competitive dancer, and so that was really in our life. And I think having cancer probably played into that, and having a health scare like that. So I mean, explain like getting diagnosed the first time, and then like what what that was like, I guess.
Yeah, the first time diagnosed, my kids were 3 and 5, and it's gonna be hard.
Yeah, it's okay.
All I could think about was I had to be there for my kids, and I would do whatever the doctors told me that treatment I need to do, except one of them, I had a question about a pill they wanted me to take, and I was only 35 at the time, and the doctor said, well, if you have a question about that, you can find yourself another doctor.
What?
And I found out later he was doing a trial study on that drug, so as more people he put on it, the more money he would make. So I went to New York and got a second opinion. They said, absolutely do not take that drug for my own personal reasons, whatever they told me that was. And so I just want to let women know to be your own advocate and get out there and get second opinions. And, you know, it might be the same as the first doctor, but at least you'll know what's the right thing to do. If you have questions, ask, and don't take their word for it. If you feel uncomfortable, ask another doctor. But anyway,
yeah.
so the kids were young, and all I could think about was I need to be here. And then the second time I got it was exactly 2 years later. So the treatment.
You were 30, like
7.
when? Okay, so you're 37.
Yeah, so the treatment was much more aggressive. I guess the cancer came back a more aggressive type. So they wanted to do everything they could, chemo, mastectomy, radiation, everything. And it was just a really tough time with little kids, and I didn't want them to worry or know, so I didn't really talk about it. I just carried on and was extremely tired, and I had a great support group, a support system of friends and family, and it was just it's unusual because when you're 35 and 37, that's the last thing you think about, because I thought old ladies who smoke got cancer. I have never smoked, and I wasn't old. So I've always wondered why. Was it the food I ate? Was it stress? Was it my bra? Was it I mean, was it deodorant? Was it the environment? What was it? And I'll never know the answer, and that everybody would like to know why.
I was gonna say that's like an interesting part, and maybe if you can talk a little bit about like what was your lifestyle like, and what, you know, as far as like food and that stuff goes, were you aware of it or conscious of it? Were you just kind of healthy on a general level? Or was there something that you think, like stress or something, that may have been a factor?
I think stress for sure was a factor, and maybe food. I wasn't that knowledgeable about what to eat and how much, and protein and carbs and fat, and I just ate whatever I felt like, and I was hungry, and probably didn't have the best diet, but so do a lot of people don't have the best diet and they never get cancer. So yeah, I'm not sure if that contributed.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the big, you know, like you said, that's the big question.
And breast cancer was not in my family until years later. My aunt got it, but she's in her 80s, and they say if it's later in life, it's not considered hereditary.
Oh.
Yeah, younger.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah.
I was going to ask, I think an interesting part of the story that I heard growing up was when you found it. I remember that story, and that was really interesting because I feel like we all do that.
Yeah, I think I was in the bath, and I just did self-examination, and I felt a bump, and it was the size of a frozen pea. That's what it felt like. And I didn't think anything of it because, like I said, I'm fit, healthy, young, you know, couldn't be anything. And so I did find out shockingly that that's what it was. And then when I found it the second time, I was always feeling that scar to see if there was going to ever be a change. And it came back right near the scar, the same kind of feeling. And if I hadn't have been checking that area all the time, I wouldn't have caught it the second time.
And they say, I mean, from what you said, that your chances of getting it back a second time when you've had it one are high.
Yeah, like they said, if it's going to come back, it'll come back in the first 2 years. I've heard recently that it's 5 years, but my doctor said 2 years, and it came back to the day in 2 years.
In 2 years?
Yeah.
And then they say after you reach a point after that, you're kind of in the clear.
Yeah, after 5 years, you're in the clear. And right now I'm 20 years, 21. Yeah.
Ooh,
Sounds good.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
The other thing I was going to ask about that actually was, what have you like, what do you think you've taken from that experience and put into your life now? Like, is there anything health-wise, or are you more cautious of, you know, like BPA and deodorant, like you were saying? Does that freak you out now?
Yeah, my whole life is different since then. Like, I've gotten closer to you guys. I've gotten closer relationships to people because I realized, what else do you have in life but close relationships? That was the only thing that mattered after that. And eating better and being more aware of that, being more aware of stress and how to handle it. And
yeah, I mean, I think that's all you can do. I think, you know, that's a big thing for my generation, especially since that. There's been so many things. I mean, you can't microwave anything. You can't be... I just feel like every time I turn my head, there's something that comes out that says it could give you cancer.
But you also have to live your life. So you really would live in a bubble if you believed everything.
Yeah, and I think that there's so much more knowledge, like you said. I mean, I'm sure food did contribute, and stress did contribute.
And maybe 20 years ago they didn't know, but now they do know that it probably maybe had something to do with food that I wasn't eating.
And I think that's the thing. I think I get a lot of people that say, you know, like, well, you're exactly that. Like, well, you're going to die anyways. You may as well, like, eat whatever you want. But I think that there's also a balance between, yeah, of course, live your life, but don't you want to take precautions and live as best you can to avoid a lot of the things that are blatant?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, there are things, cancer, yeah, of course, that's a big question mark, and a lot of things are a question mark, but there are things that are direct contributors. So
and there are certain foods that we know you should never eat and eat every day. So,
and you might, like, you might live a long time, you might not, but I think looking after yourself, just on a general note, is kind of what it's all, like, my life has been about, and I think my mom since cancer has been about, and I know, like, my family now, that's a huge part. Like, I laugh every time we go on vacation, everybody wakes up and goes to the gym. It's like clockwork.
Yeah, we do. It's everything.
It's just what everyone does. Yeah. But it makes you feel better. It makes you better as a person in business and relationships. You're just happier.
And it's a great way to start the day. You've got that. It's 1 hour out of your whole day. It's nothing.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. We're gonna come back because the battery on the camera's dying. So,
but I just wanted to answer Katie Rogers' question.
Katie.
Twizzlers.
Yeah. My girlfriend Katie has known my mom since she was 10 years old, and they have an addiction to Twizzlers. Well, to all licorice. So Katie wanted to know if mom likes Twizzlers or nibs better, and mom says Twizzlers. And I think Katie likes nibs, but you'll have to tell me. Okay, we'll come back and answer a few more questions, so we'll see you soon.